My name is Jerome Wagendorp. I'm faculty in the Department of Geography and Sustainable Planning at Grand Valley State University. Now, I was thinking that, we geographers at all the colleges and universities throughout the world, the U.S. and Canada, teach many geography courses, and we have a great time doing that. But I think we sort of gloss over sometimes what it is that students can do with a degree in geography, or as the case might be in urban and regional planning, or a combination of the two or the three or the four, depending on the emphasis within the field of geography. So by way of introduction, I thought, this poster I'm showing you right now is kind of a good example. This is a study abroad that integrates sustainable urban and regional planning along with climate change, along with spatial analysis, along with a multitude of environmental challenges, including historical and cultural variables. But let's get off the soapbox and look at some real concrete information when it comes to training in geography and planning. One of the most valuable resources out there is a federal resource. It's the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And you can essentially look at any occupation and get a long-term outlook as to, what does the job entail? How much does it pay? Is there an increase in the labor market demand for these occupations? On and on and on. So I just grabbed a number of them that are relevant to urban and regional planning and geography, or a hybrid educational training. And so here's the entry for cartography and photogrammetrist. I think that title is outdated. This would be the geospatial analyst of today. But, we can say, okay, what is the median pay? What's the job outlook for the next 10 years? You can say, what do they do? Where do they work? How do you become one? Pay, outlook of jobs, regional information, and then related occupations. Okay. So let's take a look at this video and see what the feds have to say about this particular occupation.
Mapmakers of the past may have labeled unknown territory, "Here be dragons," but today's mapmakers rely on detailed measurements from satellite imagery to describe even those areas hidden from human eyes. Cartographers and photogrammetrists are the technologically skilled professionals who collect and interpret geographic information to create maps. While they share many characteristics, the two fields differ in the products of their work. Cartographers design accessible maps for general use, while photogrammetrists create specialized maps of Earth's surface features. They obtain geographic data from a variety of sources, including aerial cameras, satellites, and lasers attached to drones, planes, or cars. Some maps require gathering data about a population, including demographics or population density. Maps may sometimes be made for a particular purpose, such as regional or education planning, or emergency response. Although cartographers and photogrammetrists spend much of their time in offices, certain jobs require travel to the areas being mapped. Most work in architectural and engineering firms, local government, or technical consulting services. Full-time, normal business hours are typical, though those who do field work may have longer workdays. A bachelor's degree in cartography, Geography, geomatics, or surveying is the most common path of entry into this field. Courses in computer programming, engineering, math, and GIS technology are helpful. Some states require cartographers and photogrammetrists to be licensed.
All right. Well, I would not want to add anything to that. That's pretty straightforward. So if this is something that you like, investigate it a little bit more. But there is more. We can look at urban and regional planning. Look at the outlook. Okay, so we're saying that the job outlook is pretty good. Pay is a living wage. Again, we can look at what they do, where they work, how to become one. This job that are similar are sort of similar to the previous array of similar jobs. But anyway, let's take a look at what they have to say on this video as well.
From Manhattan's sky-high grid to the tangled sprawl of Los Angeles, urban and regional planners play a key role in making sure cities become more connected communities rather than concrete jungles. Urban and regional planners develop plans for how land will be used and oversee complex projects that help accommodate population growth while retaining or revitalizing functional communities. The zoning policies they administer have an impact not just on historic buildings, but also on the environment, housing, transportation, and more. Using statistical techniques, field investigations, and technology, urban and regional planners gather and analyze data to understand the current and future needs of their local area. They develop plans to address the needs they uncover, from planning new parks and schools to meet anticipated growth, or sheltering the homeless, to making changes that might attract business development. Urban and regional planners present their project proposals to communities, officials, and planning commissions. Their recommendations help guide decision makers to consider all the factors involved in a new project. Most urban and regional planners work for local government. They may work evenings or weekends to attend meetings with neighborhood groups and frequently leave the office to inspect proposed development sites.
All right, so as an urban regional planner, you sort of have to be a jack of all trades. You need to be well educated in geography and the use of spatial information, so therefore remote sensing and GIS are a must. And then you have to become skilled in the legal environment of planning and zoning. But also, depending on where you work, you have to be dialed in to your immediate and surrounding environment, because you're trying to optimize space, safeguard public health, and that's going to be different depending on where you're at. Let's look at another one. So, we can go the environmental route. Within the environmental route, we can go and sort of look at the climatology, meteorology. And again, this is space. It's space-based. It's spatial. So let's see what they say here.
Even before breakfast, and certainly before leaving the house, most people consult the weather forecast. That essential item of news is provided by atmospheric and space scientists who study the weather and climate and examine how those conditions affect human activity and the Earth. Atmospheric scientists collect data from the field using instruments such as weather balloons, radar systems, and satellite imagery. Many write their own computer programs to model or predict weather developments and advise the public or their clients on risks caused by weather events and climate change. There are many types of atmospheric scientists. For example, weather forecasters use computer models to forecast short and long-term conditions for airports, farmers, utility companies, and others. Climate scientists model climate change to help plan building design and adapt agricultural production to changing conditions. Atmospheric scientists generally work full-time and may be called upon to work at odd hours or overtime, keeping the public informed during severe weather or monitoring conditions around the clock at a field station. They may work in government weather stations, laboratories and offices, or television and radio stations. Atmospheric scientists need a bachelor's degree in meteorology or a related earth science field for most positions. To lead research or teach at the college level usually requires a PhD or master's degree in the field.
Well, let's add one more, just for rounding out the possibilities with a background in geography and urban regional planning. You can go the environmental route, and a lot of graduates end up in that job category. So let's see what the Bureau of Labor Statistics has to say about it.
Environmental scientists and specialists use their knowledge of the natural sciences to protect the environment and human health. They develop strategies to clean up polluted areas, advise policymakers, and work with industry to reduce waste or hazards. Environmental scientists gather and analyze data to shed light on important questions, including how to prevent or handle environmental problems, then use their findings to inform the public, private industry, government officials, and others about environmental hazards. Day-to-day tasks can vary a lot among these specialists. Climate change analysts study the effects of changing climatic conditions on ecosystems. Environmental health specialists study how environmental factors affect community and individual human health. Environmental restoration planners determine how to clean up polluted sites and assess costs. And industrial ecologists work with industry to develop sustainable and efficient practices that limit adverse impacts on the environment. While environmental scientists generally work full-time in an office or laboratory, some head to the field to check out environmental conditions and gather samples of air, soil, water, or food. Most entry-level positions require a bachelor's degree in a natural science or related field, but a master's degree is often needed for advancement. Whether teaching or practicing methods to keep our air, water, and land clean and free of health risks, the work of environmental scientists hits home.
All right, so these previous 4 videos sort of have a common thread that kind of runs through it, and that's kind of the spatial awareness, spatial analysis, spatial management, understanding space, optimizing space, and that's at the core of a job that relies on geographic training. Now, there's 2 more items that I like to highlight. One of those is the GIS Certification Institute. So if you have been trained in GIS/remote sensing, then you have the option of adding the GISP credential to your name. And I think that it doesn't matter if you are in planning, it doesn't matter if you are in an environmental setting, or if you are a geospatial analyst, I'd say, please think about this, because it adds professional credentialing to your job, and it amplifies your professionalism, if you will. Okay. And I'm not going to go into what it takes to get the GISP, but it's something that is totally doable and will enhance your career. On a similar notion, there is the American Institute of Certified Planners. Both professional credentials require an exam, demonstration of proficiency, maintenance, continuing education maintenance, and unfortunately, they can be expensive. But typically, an employer appreciates you having this, and they will pay for you to have one or the other, or in some cases, people have both. And that really sort of exemplifies that you are skilled in the geospatial realm and in urban and regional planning. So just to round things out, this is what I kind of suggest as a possible route. After you finish your undergraduate degree, or even if you continue on for a master's or go beyond that, it does not hurt to have these credentials. And it further legitimizes what it is that you do, but also what you know and what you can do. So without further ado then, thanks, and I hope this little video was helpful. Thanks. Bye.